Always a pleasure to be joined by our Director of Scouting, Craig Button. How about these Montreal Canadiens, Craig? 3 wins in their last 4, and Brendan Gallagher, the resurgent Brendan Gallagher. He scored back-to-back games. This is a player with a big cap hit, significant term. Everyone loves him as a player. How has he looked to you so far this season?
Well, I think he's looked really good, and he looked great in this victory over the Buffalo Sabres on a Monday night. And let me just take this a second, okay? Think about Monday night. It's just completing the second week of the NHL season. And you watch Brendan Gallagher on how hard he plays and how much it matters to him to try to find a way to do whatever he can to help a team win. You know, this game, this is the first goal of the game. Wins the battle down in the corner. He'd already started it with a neutral zone turnover that led back to there. He doesn't get an assist. Then we see him here. Look at him. Oh, I'm going to the net. Oh, there's a chance to score. You know where Brendan's going. And then how about this touch pass on the winning goal, on the goal to Tanner Pearson? Power play hadn't been going really good. You know, we're accustomed to seeing Brendan battling in front of the net, but this is just a great play. Bang, over, finish. Brendan Gallagher is always going to give you 100% of whatever he has. And what he has now at this stage of his career is not the same thing he had 2, 3, 4 years ago. He just doesn't have that anymore. You know, you look at his minutes, his time on ice, they're lowered. But when they're lowered, you're also going to be able to max out that energy, that enthusiasm, that competitive spirit that Brendan brings to the game. And that becomes really infectious for the rest of the group. And bottom line is, he wears the CH on his heart. He bleeds Montreal bleu, blanc, et rouge. And for all those young players in Montreal, Brendan Gallagher is a great role model to follow. And as you're trying to build your team with the youth that they have, you want Brendan around.
Love it. You'd love to have Connor McDavid around if you're at the Edmonton Oilers, Craig. They have not had a good start to the season, as you know. 1 win in their first 5 games, and now they will be without McDavid for at least a week.
I think he's in okay spirits. Obviously, you never want to lose anybody for any period of time, but hopefully it's not too long. And like I said before, we're going to pick up the pieces for him here.
The way I took the news yesterday, I tried to kind of hint towards it after the game, was we think it's something a little bit more muscular than anything. Sometimes that just takes time. That's good news. I take that as good news, and I take that time frame that was put out there yesterday as good news.
Now, during the second intermission of that game Saturday against the Jets, Evander Kane was quoted saying, "I didn't play much of the first period, so I might as well get into a fight and take 7 or 8 minutes in the box." Now, on Monday, Evander wanted to clear the air a little bit about that statement.
There's always a lack in context, and that was a great example of something being taken, a quote, for me, without even there being a question involved, so people can take it as they may. And to be honest, even if you just look at the question or the answer, I just laid out the facts. I did play 3 minutes that period. I did get into a fight, and I did sit in the box for 8 minutes. So I was just laying out the facts.
I actually like that from Evander. I personally don't have any problem with it, but I know a lot of people are digging into everything that Edmonton says because they are in a hole right now. How do they dig themselves out of this hole, Craig?
Which hole is that? You know, want me to touch? Let me touch on the Evander Kane situation.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Number one, Evander Kane, he's become really comfortable in terms of, this is who I am, this is how I express myself, and if you want to paint a different picture that satisfies your own way of telling a narrative, go right ahead. But he's not going to put up with it. He's not going to let you get away with it. And I think that it speaks volumes about how comfortable Evander has become and how mature he is in dealing with that. And you know, you get to a point where, like, really, I mean, how about the dumb question Leon Draisaitl was asked about Stuart Skinner on a puck around, and he just said, really? And you know, sometimes, you know, the problem is with the questioner, not with the person being asked the question. And I think Evander Kane's spot on. And when you look at how they're going to look at fixing things in Edmonton, I mean, obviously we know they're 1-3-1. It's not how anybody wants to start out. But I think in the absence of Connor McDavid, you're simply not replacing Connor McDavid. Don't even try. So what you need now is every single player to try to get as close to playing to their capabilities and abilities as they can. Nothing more, nothing less. And then go out and play. They have enough talent. They have enough good players. And then proceed with that mindset. Don't try to say, oh, well, we're going to have to replace Connor here. We're going to have to do this there. You can't replace him. He's impossible to replace. There's going to be opportunity for Evander Kane. We saw him practicing on the top power play unit. That's a real opportunity for Evander to give some fresh looks to this power play and maybe benefit them down the road. And other players playing in situations, Holloway maybe getting some more offensive shots. You know, these don't happen if Connor McDavid's healthy. You don't want him to get hurt. But there's some real upside and some real upshot here to his injury for other players to find some areas of their game where they can push it higher and they get some opportunities that otherwise wouldn't be there.
Craig, down in what I call Craig Button country, that's Calgary. Our own Salim Valji is reporting that Noah Hanifin and the Flames appear to be getting closer on a long-term deal. Now, this is somewhat surprising because there was definitely a time not that long ago when it seemed like Hanifin did not want to not only be in Calgary, didn't want to be in Canada, period. How important is it for Craig Conroy to get this deal done with Hanifin as soon as possible?
Well, it doesn't have to be done as soon as possible. I mean, I'm going to go back in time here. At the end of the season last year, after a disaster of a season, with all the friction that was happening with Daryl Sutter, the players came out and put a stake in the ground. They all did. Michael Backlund did. Elias Lindholm did. Chris Tanev did to a certain degree. Certainly Noah Hanifin did, because they weren't coming back if Daryl Sutter was going to be here. It's as simple as that. So they made their statement. Daryl's gone. What do? Come back the day after, go, hey, just kidding about leaving? You got to go through the process. The players spoke. Craig Conroy knew where they're at, and now it becomes a contract negotiation. Don't be surprised when Elias Lindholm signs too, because what they were doing then was not about not wanting to be in Calgary. It was about they were not going to be in Calgary with Daryl Sutter as their coach, and they put a stake in the ground. And you don't come out after the coach has been fired and go, oh, just kidding about not wanting to stay here. There was a process there. And now when we hear about them getting signed, and now we saw Backlund get signed, we're hearing about Noah Hanifin, should come as no surprise.
All right, let's talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. Joseph Woll will get the start for the Leafs Tuesday night in Washington against the Capitals. And Woll came into Saturday's game, Craig, in relief of Ilya Samsonov, who had allowed 3 goals in his first 4 shots, and Woll stopped all 29 shots he faced, and that led to that Leaf comeback overtime win against the Lightning. And this is something Max Domi has compared Joseph Woll's demeanor to Carey Price.
It's very nice of him. It's pretty cool. I grew up loving Carey Price, my favorite goalie as a kid, and you know, someone I've modeled my game after growing up a lot, and so that's a very nice compliment. I appreciate that from him.
We try to push each other all the time. It's NHL league, you know, like every team is both 2 goalies, you know, like it's good for both of us. It's not easy. It's hard to go to the bench after 3 shots. It's not what I want to see. But you know, like I need to stay positive, you know, like and keep working hard in the practice.
There's lots of teams in that situation. I think it's proven more and more that teams require 2 goalies to not just push each other, but share the workload and all those kind of things. So I fully expected that was going to be the case coming in, and that's how it's worked out. And we see, obviously, you'd like to have 2 goalies that are really thriving. That's the goal.
All right, so Sheldon Keefe says he expected this, that he knew that these 2 goaltenders would be sharing time. Jamie McLennan calls this a tandem situation. Lots of tandem situations around the NHL. But Craig, after what you saw on Saturday, does it feel like it's Woll's net right now?
Absolutely, it feels like that. And, you know, you watch Joseph Woll play in the game Saturday. I mean, he comes into the game, and he was brilliant. I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning had a lot of opportunities to stretch that 3-1 lead to 4-1, 5-1, and then the Leafs never get back into the game. But here's the interesting thing, Jay. It's not the first time we've seen Joseph Woll do this. He did it last year in the playoffs versus the Florida Panthers when Ilya Samsonov got hurt and came in, and he was exemplary. Joseph Woll is a really good goaltender. And you have a tandem, and that's great. Ilya Samsonov, we know what he did last year, and there was a lot of good in Ilya Samsonov. A goaltender that is struggling cannot fix his game by playing. There's no way, not in my view. You got to get into practice. You got to work on the different technical aspects in practice. And that's where the benefit of having Joseph Woll really playing well now. He gets the net to start and play games. And now Ilya can go work on his game. That's important for a goaltender to be able to have that, because if Joseph Woll wasn't on top of his game, well, now Sheldon Keefe's in a real pickle, so to speak. Because now he's going, well, do I throw Ilya back in there? We know he's struggling. The best thing for him is to work on his game in practice and to find his game. But with Joseph Woll there, that's a nice comfort for both team, coach, and for Ilya Samsonov to know, I go work on my game. Joe Woll has the net right now. I'll continue to compete. And we have a tandem here that's going to give us a chance to be successful over the course of the season.
And Max Domi comparing, and to be clear, he was comparing Woll's demeanor to Carey Price's demeanor. We want to make sure that's very clear. That's what he was comparing there. But that's a nice compliment, isn't it, Craig? I mean, Max Domi played with Carey Price. And when I think of Carey Price, his demeanor is one of the things that stands out to me.
Well, I mean, when you get a compliment like that from a teammate that played with Carey Price, and you heard Joe Woll talk about, hey, I looked up to Carey Price, and it's very nice of him. But that's always nice to hear those types of compliments. And what I would say is that I agree with Max. I've watched Joseph Woll play for a long time. He's always had that demeanor. And you think about his ability to remain calm. Everything around him can be busy and can be kind of in disarray. And Joseph Woll just stays focused right on where he's at. Where I really want to see Joseph Woll play, I want to see him play against the Dallas Stars, because his partner with the USA National Team Development Program was Jake Ottinger. Here are two young goaltenders now that were teammates for a few years at the USA National Team Development Program, and now they're goaltenders in the National Hockey League. I want to see them go against one another in the game versus Dallas.
I love that, Craig. Craig, I'm going to, first of all, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, as we show you what the games we have coming up on Tuesday. Craig, are you excited about this Frozen Frenzy, the 16 games, all 32 teams in action? What do you think of this? Are you pumped?
No, I'm not. Not one bit. I think they're trying to copycat. I think they're trying to copycat the NFL with the NFL Red Zone. Great little copycat. Not enthused about it. Listen, the teams, the people that love their team are going to watch their team. They're not going to be zipping through the TV channels, and nor will I. I'll be zeroed in on the games that I need to be zeroed in on. I'm doing the Jets panel on Tuesday night, but yeah, hey, just another little gimmick. Nothing wrong with gimmicks.
I love it, Craig. I love your honesty. Great to chat with you. And thanks again. We really appreciate it.